Adrian, welcome back. Today I'm here to bring you one of my most favorite videos to watch. I binge watch them all the time. Yes, in the 3 years that I have been here on BookTube, I have yet to make one. Today I'm here to bring you the if you like this book, then you'll like this book video. The reason that I've shied away from making one of these videos before is number one, because I always feel like I haven't read quite enough books to be able to compare other books, which is not really true. Number two, because comparing books really is a matter of taste. So if I compare two books and you don't think that they are quite like each other, that's fine. You are entitled to your opinion. I just, for some reason, it reminded me of it, and I think that perhaps because I either liked or didn't like, in some cases, one book, you will either like or dislike a book similar to it. You know how these videos goes. Again, take it with a grain of salt. First up is sort of an oldie, not old, but an oldie. If you liked The Forgetting by Shannon Cameron, I think that you will very much like the Wayward Pines series by Blake Crouch. The Forgetting follows Nadia, and Nadia is the only person to her recollection that does not forget. In the place where she lives, every 12 years something happens that causes the entire city, community, place where she lives, everything she knows more or less, to forget. And we're trying to figure out what is going on. Wayward Pines trilogy starts with the book Pines, and it follows a man named Ethan, and Ethan is an FBI detective and he's investigating these murders. He ends up in this Wayward Pines town and crazy stuff is going on. People don't remember who they are. He can't really remember what happened. How did he get there? The reason that I compared these two books is not necessarily because they are a lot like each other in plot, although there are some similarities. They're just both sort of like, what is going on? We need to figure out what's going on with this town and something is not right. I really enjoyed both of these books. Stick around for my September wrap-up because I just finished this one a couple days ago. This one was one that I almost did, and after the series just got better and better. Next up is if you liked Manhattan Beach by Jennifer Egan, then I think you will like Live by Night by Dennis Lehane. These two are both historical fiction books. They both have to do with gangs in some way or another. Manhattan Beach is more women's rights and it takes place in the Second World War in a New York naval yard. Live by Night follows a gangster in the Prohibition era, 1920s, 30s Boston gang. Anna meets a gang member, Joe is a gang member. They both sort of have to do with gangs, but the reason that I sort of compare these books is they have similar writing styles, in my opinion. I kind of got the same vibe from both of these books. They are, in their own way, very different. Again, this was more women's rights. This one is more just up-and-coming gangster. But they felt the same. They had the same feeling. They're, again, two different time eras, so they're not identical, but they have the same feel. So I think that if you enjoyed Manhattan Beach, then you will like Live by Night. By the way, I do have a spoiler-free review for Manhattan Beach in case you've not heard of either of these books. You can check out this one. Next up is if you liked Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire, I think you would very much like Eleanor by Jason Gurley. Every Heart a Doorway is more portal fantasy. It follows various children in their escapes to other worlds. Eleanor is a book that is very high on the topic of grief. It starts off by following a woman named Agnes whose mother has previously committed suicide. She gets into a car accident and one of her two twin girls, Esmeralda, dies. And we are left with Eleanor, her other daughter. We're dealing with Agnes's grief and Eleanor's grief, her daughter. And one day Eleanor just starts to randomly disappear and we don't know what's going on. This one isn't technically a portal fantasy. It does dabble a little bit sort of into portal fantasy, but again, the comparison that I'm making is mostly because of the vibe. A lot of these books are just pure feeling. If you like the eerie feeling of Every Heart a Doorway, then I think you'll like this one. The biggest difference between the two is that Every Heart a Doorway has very many different worlds. Some are whimsical, some are more logical. This one doesn't have that. It's not like that at all. It's just, they're similar in feels. I have a spoiler-free review out for this one as well, so go check it out and you can let me know in the comments of that video or the comments of this video if you think that this is a good comparison. Next up is if you liked It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, then I think you will like Love in Other Words by Christine Lauren. This one was my favorite book of 2017 and Love in Other Words is one of my favorite romances for sure of 2019. This one follows Macy and Elliot. Macy and Elliot are both love books, and it sort of follows their friendship and relationship. We're 10 years later, Macy and Elliot have broken up and we don't know what happened, so we spring between their current situation and their past situation, and we find out a lot about what happens. And Ends With Us follows Lily, and Lily has found herself into an abusive relationship, but she also is confronted with a past boyfriend fling named Atlas that she was very fond of and had a good connection with when she was a teenager. The reason that I think that if you like one then you like the other is because of the back and forth jump in time between your relationships. You start off by seeing these characters at a young age, at a teenage age, and then you jump forward to their adult life and you're trying to figure out what happened between these romances, and you really fall in love with the characters from the past. Next up is one that I will be honest is a little bit of a stretch, but again I got the same feels from it, and that is if you liked Romanov by Nadine then you will like Wildcat by J.P. Harker. I wanted to specifically mention this one because this is an indie author and I love indie authors, and this book is not talked about enough. Romanov is a historical fantasy that follows the Romanov family, specifically Anastasia Romanov and her brother, and Wildcat is a historical fantasy that is a combination of Imperial Rome and Iron Age Wales. The reason that I compare them to these two is mostly because they are both historical fantasies, and I love historical fiction and I love fantasy, and I think I love historical fantasy even more nowadays. It's this new sort of subgenre that I'm really starting to get into. There's sorcerers in both of these books. There are really cool magic systems in both of these books. This one is more not really real based, if that's the thing. This one's a little more closer to the reality than this one is, but I enjoyed them both, and I think that if you liked this one, then you will like this one. And shout out to indie authors, so if you haven't yet, you should get this one. I do have a spoiler-free review for both of these books because I liked them both. And last up is another Blake Crouch comparison because I love his books, and that is if you liked Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, then I think you will like the Unraveling Duology by Elisabeth Noris. This one follows a guy named Jason, and he's kidnapped and he wakes up in a place where he doesn't know anybody. And this one follows a girl named Janelle and a guy named Ben, and their world is falling apart. They have, I think, 24 days or 24 hours, I can't remember, to save the universe, more or less, before impending doom comes. Both of these were very fast-paced, very mind-bending, very interesting. If you don't like science fiction books, neither do I really all that much, but I really enjoyed these, so I think that you will enjoy both of them. That wraps it up for this. If you like this book, then you will like this book video. If you know of any other books that are similar to any of the books that I have mentioned here, leave them down in the comments below and go check out the comments to see what other people have recommended, because I am not the end-all and be-all of book comparisons. There are lots of videos out like this. They are fun. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, give it a big thumbs up so that I can know to make more of these in the future. If you have not yet, I would love for you to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.